What's up, Crypto Junkies? Welcome to another news segment, and let's dive right into it. We got some news to cover. Definitely got some stablecoin stuff to talk, regulation, and speculation. So let's dive right in. Let's start with some headline hunting. Former exec of Fidelity joins blockchain infrastructure firm Block as its COO, Chief Operating Officer. That's BLOQ. Block. The phone company, HTC, has launched early access to its blockchain smartphone called the Exodus One. Breaks down to be about $960 in BTC, shipping in December. And last piece, the CMTA, which is the Capital Markets and Technology Association in Switzerland, has published anti-money laundering standards for digital assets and DLT in the financial market. The regulation topic is obviously an ongoing one, keeps getting brought up over and over and over again. The SEC actually just published a memorandum. There we go, memorandum. I can talk today, I promise. In regards to the Vancheck and SolidX Bitcoin ETF proposals, but this is an ongoing conversation that I really think that, and that's going to take us into our first article here, I really think that globally they should come together and make joint effort and coordinate on the rules and regulations. So that brings us into our first article here. Circle CEO calls on global economies to coordinate on crypto regulation. So Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Circle, okay, which I don't know, to me Circle's like PayPal but with crypto. What do you know? He also wants this coordinated effort on regulation. You know, that's a little conjecture there, but I think overall it needs to be done. Like, you can set aside all of your differences, you know, China trade tariff wars and all that can be set aside for just a second for this greater good thing over here. I think that countries can do that. I think presidents can be bigger than their beef, and countries can be bigger than their problems with each other, and set that aside for this thing that they really can't control that's sprouting up all over the place. Allaire, yeah, something like that. He would like to see that there's normalization at the G20 level, which is just essentially all the major countries that meet on a regular basis, which I believe they're meeting in Argentina this month or next month. So no, November. Anyways, I think especially it makes sense for ICO offers and token offers. I've said this over and over and over again. I think the Howey test is a little not related to this market, and I believe that how they're using that as a loophole to go after this guy and set precedents for this and I just think it's a bit silly. If we could just get global initiative launched, I think that would be absolutely incredible. And speaking of Circle, their USDC stablecoin was added to Coinbase. That was done just yesterday, US time. Coinbase is on the move. We got some other Coinbase news in just a second. Stablecoin is like the new hot topic. It's cool, I guess, to a degree, but I will bring back this thought and remind you of this thought. If cryptocurrency never allowed fiat to come in, what would have happened? Where would it be right now? What if it was just a closed loop system where you only made it by mining it, by being paid out by smart contracts and rewarded for actions done and services rendered, like we get paid out on dollars and fiat? I think we'd be in a completely different scenario now. It's getting into muddy waters because you got to understand something is, and I'm going to reference this piece here, that this narrative that like bankers are going to somehow pump Bitcoin is just not true. They don't do that. What they do really, really well is stretching out supply. So they are really good at taking something that's scarce and now making it just watered down. Gold, silver, look at every single commodity. So it's ETF'd, it's future contracts, there's derivatives, there's a million different things now stemmed off of like 1 ounce of gold, which is called rehypothecation essentially. And it just doesn't work. And it's just stupid. The issue is that they think that they live in a scarcity mindset. So they think that if something is scarce, they need to stretch it out and water it down. And that's not necessarily true. Like, some things can be scarce and stay scarce. And with Bitcoin, I think that we're entering into some very interesting times. I think that from a adoption standpoint, everyone's gonna love these stable coins. Countries are gonna love them for remittance and things like that. In other countries where people don't even know what the hell remittance is and getting payments across borders, I think that the stable coins, people are gonna love that. And all the institutions are gonna love that because it's backed, it's audited, it has the stamp of approval of the CFTC, FDIC and all these other three-letter international agencies. But is that really moving us in the right direction? Or is this just like a micro pivot out of fiat into something that's fiat, but on the internet? It just, I don't know, it just kind of seems silly to me. And it seems like, once again, like if you look at the trends of how tech is rolled out now, it used to be big jumps, and now it's like these micro jumps, like Apple doing a launch every single year. Why? They never used to. And so Android doing a launch every single year. Like your refrigerator technology, your stove technology, it's just incrementally better every year. And they do that so that they profit the most. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is balance sheets. I really wish we would move away from that. And I thought that's one of the reasons why we got into crypto, is that crypto represented a quantum leap with centralization, with accountability. And I think that all these stable coins are just moving away from that. We're just moving right back into like the narrative. It's official. Regulators approved Coinbase to offer custodian services in New York. Yay, hurrah, hurrah. Okay, they're a custodian now. So Coinbase is taking over the globe. Like, and if you just step back and look at it, isn't Coinbase just like Facebook? Like, look at how Facebook took over and dominated and just like, and put its claws into everything as a social media giant, and now really dangerous tool that's used globally for getting people into office and getting people elected and using it as a town square tool. It really does not fall under the protection it's getting. It needs to be held liable at a much and accountable at a much higher level than it is now. And I see Coinbase is like the same thing, but in the crypto space. Take a step back and really look at that. Look at how Coinbase has grown. Then they had the index, and then they've got the fund that they've launched out the side, and now they've got the custodian piece out the side. It's the same thing. Anyway, here's the piece I was looking for. All the stable coins recently. So we've got Circles, USDC, Trust Token, True, USD, Paxos, PAX, and then the Winklevoss is the Gemini GUSD. And then we also have the, obviously the US dollar Tether. Let's now pivot into the next piece. A new stable coin tied to the Australian dollar is launching on Stellar's blockchain. Good to see this stuff launching out on different blockchains. I think that's good for these altcoins overall. I've been watching, and I think that's a good thing. What's the coin actually called? It's launched by the Novati Group, an Australian online payment processor. It'll be called the Novati AUD utility token. They don't have a ticker yet, I guess, because otherwise they would have shown that, right? Anyway, that'll be available on November 19th. Now, what's interesting about that is the Novati Group is a licensed payment distributor processing payments for such clients as Vox Telecom in Europe and a South African remittance provider, MoneySend. Peter Cook is the managing director, said that institutions beyond their normal clientele have reached out to express interest on the upcoming token. Of course, the remittance aspect of these stable coins, I think, is going to get really interesting really quick, because it's going to be a mad dash to cover a lot of ground on the remittance side and take on, Western Union and MoneyGram's, their essential target market, because that's a huge market. People don't realize that. Like Western Union, it's in their best interest to keep using fiat. And what do you know? Western Union also tested out Ripple, remember? Anyway, I guess the main purpose of this is to be used within Australia for purchases and people. And so it's one for one. It's backed by Australian dollar, and it'll be held in a trust. What's interesting about this, and I didn't bring this up the other day, is that currently there's no real auditing process for these stablecoins. Even one of the Winklevoss brothers weighed in on a conversation about this and essentially tried to explain and use as a line of reasoning that because there's no regulation, that they're like a victim of the circumstance. They're a victim of this crappy regulation that occurs currently. I don't like that at all, because if you're a leader, then you'll help reshape and shape the rules and regulations. I see people doing that all day long. So why aren't you doing that? You're the head of one of the largest exchanges in the United States. Like, you should be working directly with the US government to help shape and shift new rules and regulations and how they're really assessing this. But I don't see that really happening at all, unless it's happening behind closed doors and we just don't know about it. But out, in public, I'm not really seeing it. And so I thought that was really interesting, that their reason is just like, shut up and accept it because that's what there is right now, instead of taking a more proactive approach and a more leader-driven approach, which is, let's help reshape this from the inside. We're on the inside, we have weight, we have leverage, let's get some meetings lined up and let's start to create a new auditing process together. I think there needs to be a completely custom auditing process for these stablecoins, 100%, if we're going to play that game. So anyway, I find all that interesting, but there seems to be this hype around stablecoins lately. It's completely taken over the conversation in the crypto space. Maybe it's just because Bitcoin isn't really doing much, but understand that like all of this, like what we're talking about today and what you're seeing right in front of you is the system, let's call it, the man chipping away at the sovereignty of Bitcoin itself. You may see that, you may not see it, but the more we stretch the currency, the more we allowed to trade it on paper, trade the future price of it, the more it'll beat down the price. So next, I already talked about this. Last piece, let's end on a high note. Elon Musk tweeted this out. Oh my gosh, he obviously knows about Bitcoin, who doesn't? But this is sparking obviously a lot of conversation and speculation around what he might be doing in the background. So just interesting. I mean, it's literally, there's nothing more to it than this, is that he just posted this. Oh, that's interesting, right after that Twitter thought he got hacked and locked out his account. So yeah, anyways, and then CZ from Binance getting in on it too. He'll buy a Tesla if you accept crypto. That's pretty cool. That's all I got for you. No more new news. Okay, so there you go. There's your news for the day, my friends. You could just take a second, like this video. It helps us so much in the algorithms, helps us get this video out to all of our subscribers and, you know, showing up on different pages within the YouTube ecosystem. Please just take a second, click the like button. It would have been done already. Then if you're brand new to the channel and you like what we're doing, click to subscribe, the bell notification that comes right after that, and be on the lookout because we'll be launching more videos soon, my friends. Okay, see ya.